Well, hello, everybody. My name is Jim Wisniewski. I am a certified life coach and health coach. And this is my sister, Therese Westberg, who is why don't you say it?
Licensed clinical professional counselor. So hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. And we would like to, during this time, this coronavirus time, just offer some perspectives, maybe from the clinical therapist's perspective and then from the coach's perspective of just how to get through these times. And so I'd like to start with Therese, my sister, and just so everybody knows, our art direction took us at least a half an hour to figure out together because we're both vain and we're both brother and sister, and it was good giggles,
Speak
good
for
fun.
yourself, girl. I'm not vain.
No, she's not vain. I am definitely vain. And with this, so what I wanted to start with is just during this time of quarantining and everybody kind of trapped in their homes and trying to figure out how to deal with this new normal and with all the anxiety that's rising in us. um, what is Let's give our viewers some tools to take with them during this time, and let's start with
Yeah.
you. What you think?
Well, there's so many different issues and topics that people are going through right now. I think the most basic one, the easiest one to start with, because it's the most complicated and easiest one, is the anxiety. I think that, I know I'm certainly experiencing it, and I assume we're all going through the same thing. And I've talked to a lot of people that seem to experience, that sensation of, you wake up in the morning and in the right, it's a normal day, and then it settles in, and you're like, oh, wait a minute,
Right, right.
this is really happening. And then the reality kicks in, and you get flooded with anxiety, talk yourself off the cliff, and that kind of comes and goes in waves throughout the day. So I think that's a really good thing to start with talking about, because that's the key for all of us. We have to be able to get through our days, right? So
Yeah,
um,
for me, just to maybe you can use me as the subject. I feel like I wake up every day in Groundhog Day. Like Sonny and Cher are singing, "Babe, I got you, babe," and I'm like, "Oh gosh, what again?" Like here we are. What happened? I have no idea what's gonna happen today. So
yeah.
that's
And
what
you
my
got to go
days.
through the whole day again with and trying to stay away from the news, but you got to know a little bit,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
just maneuvering and trying to make yourself just be normal, just act natural. That's all you
right,
got, act
right,
natural, right? So I just want to kind of explain the what's really happening to us in that, so that we can try to recognize that we do have some control over it, actually a lot of
right,
control. So what's really happening to all of us is once that it comes into our brain and we realize, oh, okay, yeah, this is still happening, all the fear kicks up, the anxiety, and once that happens, what's really going on is that we just sparked up our central nervous system, or our sympathetic nervous system.
right,
The sympathetic nervous system is the part of our brain that is, that's where all the anxiety is stored. That's where our fight or flight or freeze instinct is.
right.
So normally when we're feeling uncomfortable, we all have a different response. So if you're a fighter, you want to get it out and get it done so that you can get on with things. But in the situation, there's no one to fight. You can say you fight with the TV a little bit. I don't know what your political views are, but you fight with some people, and
Right.
and so you do that, or you're contained with your family or whoever you're contained with. So maybe you take it out on them a little bit, but that's as good as it's going to get. You're not going to win a fight on this. You just got to deal with it. So that instinct doesn't really work so well. Then you've got your flight. A lot of people need to get out. Like when they're having that anxiety, they need to just leave, go take some time. And in this situation, there's nowhere to go. You can go for a walk, but you got to come back, and you're confined. So
Yeah.
you don't have so many options. So that instinct is not really going to work for you so well. And so most of us more go right these times to freeze. Well, I'm in my place, so I guess I'm just gonna we'll get through it, and then
Here I
let's check
am.
the news.
Right.
And
I'm stuck. Yep.
is that how you feel too?
You know what?
Some degree?
I do and I do and I don't. And I think I started out that way. I started out going, I don't know what happens today, like, turn off the Sonny and Cher. Here we go, But I think from a coach's point of view, or from a habit point of view, the way I've tried to sort of navigate this time is to put things in place that are going to anchor me through the day, that are going to be kind of, a regular part of my day, finding time for a little bit of exercise, finding a little time for my brain, like meditation. We have 2 kids, so they're young. So there's a lot of homeschooling going on. So it's like, okay, we have to make sure that we get you into this worksheet while mom and dad do other things. There's cooking, there's planning. So
Right.
to me, it ends up being, what new habits are we going to form during this time? And so what I've tried to do, and you can let me know if this is a good idea from a psychological point of view, give me things that I can be familiar with that may become the new normal in these next couple of, I don't know how many months, we don't know. So forming
Right.
new habits that may end up then being really rewarding in the end, of like,
Right.
wake up, make your bed, put your gym clothes on, just put them on.
Mhm.
Just knowing that,
Right.
like,
Instead of like
having them
going from
on.
our night pajamas to our day pajamas.
Yeah,
Back into
yeah,
our night pajamas.
yeah, exactly,
A lot of
exactly.
that going on,
Um,
including me. This is like, I actually got makeup on. I'm like, whoa, okay. That's I
nice,
haven't
right?
had
Yeah,
makeup
I
on.
mean, make it feel like
Start to
this is
feel
a
normal a
real,
little bit.
yeah, make it feel
Right.
real, make it feel like it's a real
But
thing.
I want to bank on what you're saying, because so you're saying, we need to make sure we have routines and things that help us feel normal. And one of the key things I think there is, because we have all this anxiety flooding, is how to knock it down. So I just want to talk on that piece a little bit, and then I want to go back to what you're talking about and what are some of the, structural things, because you said it yourself, it's about, you got to make a choice at this point
Yeah,
in time. We're
yeah,
going to choose at this time to sit in that flood of anxiety and let ourselves drop down into it and wallow and get depressed, let our anxiety take over and throw in the towel. And we can do that, or we can choose to go to our other system. And this is where I just want to, for just explaining a little bit about the brain. We control which part of our brain we use. So when we're in that anxiety, we're trapped in that sympathetic amygdala back part of the brain, because that's where all the negative stuff happens for us. We also have this whole front part of our brain, that's our parasympathetic nervous system.
right.
That's the system that is there to regulate us. That's where our coping strategies and skills are, and all
Our
positive things.
digestion,
Pardon?
our digestion.
Yeah, all of that stuff here, all the good stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yep,
And so the point that I'm really making about it is that we always have a choice of which part of our brain we're using. We just have to be aware. This is called mindfulness. So we have to intentionally choose to jump to that front part of our brain to say, okay, whoa, I need this back part to calm down. I know this part of my brain will regulate that. That will say, Teresa, you're okay. You
yeah,
can calm down. And how I do that is I intentionally focus away from anything negative that I might have been thinking about back there, and intentionally focus on positive things. The positive things don't even have to be true. This is not a distraction technique. They just have to be positive. So I might tell myself what an awesome rock star I am, how I'm
well,
the
that's true.
coolest person
That's a
ever,
fact. I've seen it. I've
right?
seen it
I don't know.
throughout the years. Now, can I add to this something?
Yeah, please.
Because a lot of what I do as a coach has got a lot to do with story. And what story are you telling yourself? And in some ways, the news is you know making that narrative for you. You're going, oh man, we're all dying, we're all going, we're all,
Mhm.
and there is some real fear in it, and it's the real thing. But we get to choose the story that we have, and that sounds like the mindfulness that we're looking at. If we want to live in that story of gloom and doom, which is easy to do right now, we can. Or we can live in that story of, I've got some real time on my hands here, and I
Right.
get to make something out of that time that you know, what we don't want to happen is that this whole thing kind of gets figured out. We want that, but we don't want to come to the end of it and go, I didn't do anything that was
Right.
positive during this time.
I
That
told
was
your brother I
productive.
have a blank canvas sitting in the other room there. I'm thinking about it.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, in the earlier parts of this, like what you're talking about, I realized I was making that choice. I'm like, well, no one's gonna see me for a while.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat some potato chips.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I started going down that path, and then I realized I'm like, you could either come out of this thing like 10 or 20 pounds heavier than you went in, or you could come out hotter than you were before. Well, not like, I mean, like in
No
better
way. You
shape
can't
than
get
I
much
was before,
hotter
like
than you were before. That was
exercising.
very hot. Very hot.
Is like exercising more, and so now I'm more like that. I'm exercising more and eating better foods, although
Yeah.
we might be bringing some chips back into the house today.
Well,
but
maybe next week we can kind of touch on maybe the 5 stages of grief that I really think the world is going through.
right.
And I believe that there's some of this, some of this sympathetic nervous system stuff that kind of starts up that we have to let be there for a certain moment, acknowledge
Absolutely.
it. It's there. It's part of what's going on, and then start to change it, right? Then start to kind of go, okay, I've done that. I've been through this.
Right.
I've grieved this, and now it's time to let's start focusing it.
Right, and I think that it's okay if we go back and forth with it too. I think the biggest thing about what you're saying is like, if I'm going to be back there, like yesterday, I'll be honest, I had a kind of a down day yesterday, and I didn't feel like talking myself out of it. I just kind of wanted to give into it. It's real. I mean,
Yeah.
this is real, and we get to honor our feelings, but the choice comes in where I don't want to stay there. So it's about knowing that it's up to you. When you decide you've had enough back there, understanding you can flip the switch and jump to your parasympathetic, and to get up there, like we're both talking about, is it's thinking positive thoughts, but it's also any kind of physical movement takes you up here, and
Yeah.
that gets you out of it. So
Yeah.
it's a choice, but you can go back and forth, and you do need to process what's going on. So you're going to be back there sometimes. That's okay.
All right. I think this is good stuff, and I think that what I'd like to leave you with is that the mindfulness of your ability to make a choice, and don't
Mm-hmm.
underestimate your ability, I think, to make a choice and live in the story that you want to actually live in. And I think the more we all do that, the better off we'll be, and we can come out of this thing actually advancing our story in a positive way. We can come out of all of this and kind of go, you know what, that was really hard, but here's what out of the ashes rises the phoenix, and so let's see what that's gonna be. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in,
By
everyone.
the way, in Chicago and in
LA, Chicago.
Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you, sister. All right. Mwah. Bye, everybody.